Yeah, I think it's Swapna Mataji. Whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today we'll be reading from Canto 6, Chapter 13, text 12 onwards. Text 12 and 13. So the title is, the chapter is King Indra afflicted by sinful reaction. So from text 12, Indra saw personified sinful reaction chasing him, appearing like a Chandala woman, a woman of the lowest class. She seemed very old, and all the limbs of her body trembled. Because she was afflicted with tuberculosis, her body and garments were covered with blood. Breathing an unbearable fishy odor that polluted the entire street, she called to Indra, "Wait, wait." Text 14. O king, Indra first fled to the sky, but there also he saw the woman of personified sin chasing him. This witch followed him wherever he went. At last, he very quickly went to the northeast and entered the Manasarovara lake. Text 15. Always thinking of how he could be relieved from the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmin, King Indra, invisible to everyone, lived in the lake for 1000 years in the subtle fibers of stem of a lotus. The fire god used to bring him his share of all yajnas, but because the fire god was afraid to enter the water, Indra was practically starving. Text 16. As long as Indra lived in the water, wrapped in the stem of the lotus, Nahusha was equipped with the ability to rule the heavenly kingdom due to his knowledge, austerity, and mystic power. Nahusha, however, blinded and maddened by power and opulence, made undesirable proposals to Indra's wife with a desire to enjoy her. Thus, Nahusha was cursed by a Brahmana and later became a snake. Text 17. Indra's sins were diminished by the influence of Rudra, the god of all directions. Because Indra was protected by the goddess of fortune, Lord Vishnu's wife, who resides in the lotus clusters of Manasarovara lake, Indra's sins could not affect him. Indra was ultimately relieved of all the reactions of his sinful deeds by strictly worshipping Lord Vishnu. Thus, he was called back to the heavenly planets by the Brahmanas and reinstated in his position. Text 18. O king, when Lord Indra reached the heavenly planets, the saintly Brahmanas approached him and properly initiated him into a horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, meant to please the Supreme Lord. Text 19 and 20. The horse sacrifice performed by the saintly Brahmanas relieved Indra of all the reactions to all his sins because he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sacrifice. O king, although he had committed a gravely sinful act, it was nullified at once by that sacrifice, just as fog is vanquished by the brilliant sunrise. Text 21. King Indra was favored by Marichi and others great sages. They performed the sacrifice just according to the rules and regulations, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the original person. Thus Indra regained his exalted position and was honored and was again honored by everyone. Text 22 and 23. In this very great narrative, there is glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. There are statements about the exaltedness of devotional service. There are descriptions of devotees like Indra and Vritrasura, and there are statements about King Indra's release from sinful life and about his victory in fighting the demons. By understanding this incident, one is relieved of all sinful reactions. Therefore, the learned are always advised to read this narration. If one does so, one will become expert in the activities of the senses, his opulence will increase, and his reputation will become widespread. One will also be relieved of all sinful reactions. He will conquer all his enemies, and the duration of his life will increase. Because his narration is because this narration is auspicious in all respects, learned scholars regularly hear and repeat it on every festival day. Thus ends the chapter 13 of Canto 6. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swapna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sri Krishna Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sundaran Prabhu. Thank you, Swapna Mataji, for reading the translation today. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashramekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Krupambadirtamaham Prapatye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete giram yatkrupa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are seeing this section where Indra already defeated Vritrasura, and now Indra is being afflicted by this Brahmahatya dosha. So we'll see the details of all the intricacies that Indra considered, how in the previous chapter, Vritrasura, after he left this body of a demon, he gets the exalted position of an associate of Lord Shankarshana. So in the spiritual planet, it's very, very exalted position. And Indra knew that Vritrasura was a Brahmana. He was, in the form of a demon. So he was considering all the intricacies of killing a Brahmana, but he was a duty bound. So he was not only an individual who was doing something on his own purpose, but on behalf of all the demigods, he's representing all the demigods, and in the interest of all the demigods, and by the path laid out by Lord Vishnu, he is performing. But still, Indra is considering all the intricacies of having killed a Brahmana and also a great devotee like Vritrasura. So now in this chapter 13, so now Shukada Goswami, initially he mentions to Parikshit Maharaj that when Vritrasura killed all the presiding deities and demigods, they were witnessing, and they all understood that the spark that came out from Vritrasura body went back to spiritual world. And when they were leaving, nobody spoke to Indra. So in the case of Hiranyakashipu being killed by Lord Nrsimhadev, there was a jubileous celebration. But in this case, it's not like that. Even Vritrasura was also a great devotee, and Indra, having killed a Brahmana, even though he was given no demigod spoke to him. So that was a question raised by Maharaj Parikshit. So now, in response to Maharaj Parikshit's question, Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating what was the consideration within Indra's heart, why he was very unhappy. All that he is revealing. So today we are starting from verse number 12. So now, so we can understand that the greatness of Indra, why he is in such a high position of chief of all demigods. So he could see the sinful reactions following him, and he could see the sin personified following him. So when even though Indra was unhappy to kill Vritrasura, he killed Vritrasura on the advice of demigods, and they gave him assurance that we will perform Ashwamedha Yagya and we will relieve you from all sinful reactions. We are protected by Lord Narayana Kavacha. All the advice was given by demigods. So now Indra, even though he got all this advice from demigods, he was really unhappy, and still he is duty bound. So he performed what he was supposed to do. So now this sin personified, Indra saw that Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating. So she was looking like a old woman. Uh, she was all her body limbs were very trembled. It's trembled, and she was afflicted by tuberculosis. So TB, we call TB tuberculosis. And Prabhupada makes one line comment saying that anybody afflicted by tuberculosis, they kind of vomit blood. So it's kind of very ugly, you know, appearance of the sin personified with the um, chasing Indra because of that Brahmahatya dosha. So now, if you look at Nectar of Devotion, like Nectar of Devotion, in detailed way, Rupa Goswami elaborates how this sinful activity kind of manifests. The reason why the sin is performed by a person is basically avidya, ignorance. But in this case, Indra was not in avidya, he was not ignorant. He was just doing his duty as a representative of all the demigods, and also from a by the mercy of Lord Narayana, he got the Narayana Kavacha and also the thunderbolt made by the very powerful bones given by the Brahmana. And so all that combined together, he was invincible in this war with Vritrasura. So now, if you consider this Indra's position, even though he had a lot of implication that he made mistakes by offending his Guru Maharaj, and all that has brought him to this situation. But still, in this situation, he is completely kind of acting as an instrument in between all this representative demigods and all that. So now we can see how Indra is considering this sin is a great problem, and how to come out of this sinful reaction. So this thought itself is making him as an excellent Vaishnava. Vaishnava always considers whether if he should perform an activity, is it sinful or not sinful. All these considerations, is only a devotee kind of has these considerations. So Indra, from that perspective, he is a very elevated personality. So now this sinful personified is chasing Indra. So Indra is flying, moving to all over the space and trying to see how he can be saved from this. So now, if you consider Rupa Goswami's elaboration in Nectar of Devotion, so Rupa Goswami says the avidya is the seed of this sin. And so we all know that Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakar Yahan Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. So the devotional service or Krishna is like a sun, and Maya is like a darkness. When there is sun, there is no darkness. So similarly, the power of Lord Narayana's shelter or Krishna's shelter is so powerful that it will eradicate all kinds of sinful reactions. So in this case, Indra, sinful reaction is a Brahmahatya dosha, as because of that Brahmahatya dosha, that sin is actually a already matured part of his sin is trying to afflict him. So now he's so expert that he knew how to take shelter of Lord again and eradicate this reaction. So now what Indra is doing is he's going to Manasarovar lake, and in a subtle form he is entering into the fibers of lotus stem. and there he is doing meditation for 1,000 years. So there it is also mentioned that Agni Dev is giving all the who is takes accepts all the yajna offerings. Even he could not come there because of fear of uh, entering that lake. So that was also mentioned here. So now, if we go through this Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion, how this bhakti actually relieves us from all kinds of material distresses. So it has the power to relieve us from all kinds of material distresses. So bhakti, there is a verse that Srimad Bhagavatam says that even a swapacha, even a person from a dog eater, uh, Chandala, he can become a Vaishnava Guru if he is completely understands the tattva of Lord Krishna. So that is the power of the holy name. If we can take shelter of the holy name, he is completely relieved of all sinful reactions, regardless of his background. So that Srimad Bhagavatam says, and when a person, the sin that manifests because of ignorance, it is in a different form. It is in the seed form, that is, which is yet to come out. And then there is a matured form of sin, and there is a sin that is yet to be fructified. There are different stages of maturity that happens from the seed until it manifests as a sinful reaction. So between this bija and the manifested sinful reaction, there are so many states, the subtle form that it exists within this the person. So all that can be completely eradicated for one who takes the shelter of the Lord. So that is the power of bhakti, and bhakti has that power to uproot that roots of that sinful tendency itself. So that is the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Indra is also trying to take shelter of Lord Narayana too, as he understands that this Brahmahatya dosha. So he is taking shelter and meditating for 1,000 years. So, like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is many verdicts. There are many pastimes. Pastime of Ajamila, how Ajamila got completely purified just by chanting the name of Lord Narayana. He got another chance to completely purify his life. So like that, there are many pastimes. So in this aspect of the pastime, so Indra is taking shelter of Manasarovar Lake. Manasarovar Lake is also a holy place where Lord Shiva is, appeared, and there are many pastimes that happens in this Manasarovar Lake. So here in this auspicious place, in this very holy place, that he is doing 1,000 years meditation. So now after that, Indra was relieved of he because of this tapasya, he diminished all the influence of this sinful reaction, and came out of that situation by the Mother Lakshmi, who is Lord Vishnu's consort, and she resides in that Manasarovar Lake. Mother Lakshmi also resides in the lotus clusters of the Manasarovar Lake. So that was by the mercy of Lord Indra and Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu's consort, Mother Lakshmi, he was completely relieved. And after relieving, Indra again re-established himself. He was re-established himself as the chief of all demigods. So when Indra was not present, Nahusha was ruling ruling the demigods planet, and because of his pride, Nahusha has to got attracted to Indra's wife, and because of that pride and offense, again he was Nahusha was asked to take another lower birth as a snake. So now in this um, Indra, after re-establishing himself as the chief of all demigods, now all the devatas, now they performed Ashwamedha Yajna. So after they performed Ashwamedha Yajna, um, Indra got completely relieved from all the completely nullified by the sacrifice. The example given was just like sunshine comes, the fog is completely cleared. So that was the example given, that now he is completely purified of all the reactions, and now he's re-established in his as the chief of demigods. And also the great sages, including Marichi, they all blessed Indra and performed this great sacrifice according to the Vedic sacrifices. So on the last verse here, the Falastuti, it was mentioned that how this pastime of Vritrasura and King Indra, this pastime is there are so many glories mentioned here. So what are some glories? The Lord's holy name, the power of the holy name is mentioned, and idam maha akyanam asesha papmanam. So how this unlimited sins that a person accumulates in many lifetimes, it can be completely purified by taking shelter of the Lord. So in this chapter itself, all of the demigods, they advise Indra that the Lord Narayana, taking shelter of his holy name and taking shelter of his lotus feet can relieve you from all the sinful activities. There is no need for fear. Please go ahead with your duty, like that they advise him. So basically speaks on the glories of Lord Narayana. And Prakshalanam Tirthapada Anukirtanam. So Tirthapada Anukirtanam, like the exaltedness of devotional service. That is also mentioned in this pastimes. And Bhakti Uchrayanam Bhakta Jana Anuvarnanam. So the descriptions of devotees like Indra and Vritrasura. So both Indra and Vritrasura, there are exalted personalities. They have their own personality, in Chitraketu's pastime, how Chitraketu got benediction of Narada Muni, all that, everything is culminating in this pastime that Vritrasura, having taken multiple lifetimes, now he is getting a position of associatal of Lord Shankarshana. So it's exalted the pastime that it is describing how the devotee actually entered into spiritual planet, and also the Mahendra Moksham. So how Indra Mahendra Moksham Vijayam Marutatvatah, how Indra got victorious in this battle. So even though this battle looks like just from a material conception, it is just a fight between two personalities, but there is a lot of bhakti aspect, how Indra is fighting, and then how Vritrasura is retaliating, and what is his thoughts, emotions, feelings, everything is actually a bhakti aspect. So from that perspective, it's all completely transcendental. And so in this narrations, by understanding this narration, that the Phalastuti for all these pastimes, now we are getting a benediction that Patayor Akyanam idam sada budaha. So Shunvanti ato purvani indriyam. So one will get dhanyam yasashyam. So he will get all the opulence and fame. and Nikilaga Mochanam. So he will also, Aga means sinful activities. He will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Mochanam and Rupak Jayam Swasti Ayanam Tatayusham. So he also will be, his Ayu, duration of life will increase in all auspiciousness by hearing regularly and repeating this on every festival days. So this is a falastuti for this pastime is given here. So we can understand a lot of aspects of bhakti in this pastime. So especially in these verses, we can understand the power of Ashwamedha Yagya. Nowadays we don't perform, but in the Treta Dwapar Yuga, they used to perform Ashwamedha Yagyas. Treta Yuga. In the Dwapar Yuga, there were elaborate deity worship. Now in the Kali Yuga is Nama Sankirtanam. So, Kalodosha Nide Rajan Astiyako Mahaguna Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. So in the Kali Yuga, only the Nama Sankirtana works. So all other processes in the other yugas, that may be very powerful. But in the Kali Yuga, only the Nama Sankirtanam. That's why in the ISKCON we have this process of chanting this 16 rounds every day, the holy name of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by chanting this, we can get rid of all the sinful reactions, just like Indra is trying to get rid of his sinful reactions. So Brahmaji says this to Narada Muni. So he says, Iti Sodrushka Nam Kalikalmishanashanam Nataro Parataro Upaya Sarva Vedeshu Drushyati. He says the 16 names, if you search the entire Vedas, you will not get a greater upaya, a greater a benediction than this in the age of Kali. So that's why if somebody is aspiring for the highest goal of bhakti, that is the best aspiration. And sinful reactions, automatically gets relieved. So just like bhakti, Rupa Goswami says, bhakti has several benedictions. So bhakti has, it gives immediately relief from all material distress, all material sufferings, and then it brings all auspiciousness. And pure devotional service, it is transcendental, completely puts one on a transcendental pleasure. We are all anchoring after the pleasure. It gives a transcendental pleasure. And pure devotional service is very rarely achieved. It's something not that easily achieved. It is such like a diamond. And pure devotional service even derives even the conception of liberation. So the moksha, everybody wants to relieve from material suffering. Everybody wants to come out of this suffering. But once we achieve this devotional service, we even don't want liberation. So because it is even higher than that. And pure devotional service even attracts Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is he attracts everyone. He attracts the whole creation, but even Lord Krishna is attracted by pure devotional service. So these are the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. And relief from the sinful reactions or material distress is just a byproduct, and that is just one of them. So from that perspective, we can understand how taking shelter of Narayana is so great that we can automatically achieve what Lord Indra is also achieved here by the mercy of Lord Narayana and the Lord's holy name and Mother Lakshmi's protection. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. That concludes today's verse. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Sri Krishna.